Hello, my name is Jim. This is my podcast, The Bloody Vegans. You're very welcome to it. Each week, I'll be travelling ever deeper into the world of veganism, discovering along the way a multitude of viewpoints from the political and ethical to the practical. I'll be doing this through a series of conversations, each week aiming to further illuminate my understanding, and hopefully yours, of all things plant-centric. So welcome to episode 7. This week, I'm going to be speaking with co-owner of a local business in West Berkshire, so in Reading, called We Are Vegivores. So Vegivores started life as a stall, a kind of food stall that operated in Reading and the surrounding area. I think Kevin talks about trying to operate within that kind of like hours journey from Reading. And they offer like incredible plant-based food, really kind of hearty, wholesome, healthy food. And this sounds like obviously what vegan food is. However, like when you go out and you try and explore looking for vegan food, you go to, perhaps a local market, vegan festivals, etc. You find lots and lots of plant-based, sweet kind of foods, lots of cakes, lots of pastries, and you see lots of kind of like meat substitutes, you see lots of burgers, chips, hot dogs, etc. And these are all amazing. Like I can't get enough of them. But I think the thing that you find when you switch to kind of a plant-based diet, lots of people have kind of shared this with me in my conversations, but your initial kind of thought process is like, everything I eat from here on in is healthy by very definition of the fact that it says vegan on it or plant-based. And as I've found out to my cost, that's a very dangerous game to get into. For the first kind of few months or so, you definitely feel the kind of energy boosts that come with not kind of ingesting dairy products and meat products and so on and so forth, not having the cholesterol in your system. So kind of almost regardless of what you eat, you feel an impact because it's all shades of grey, right? It's all better than what you probably were consuming in that kind of omnivorous lifestyle. Certainly from what I was consuming, pre-going vegan, I was probably eating meat and dairy three times a day as part of every meal. But what Vegivores does, which I love, is shows you what's next, what plant-based food should be. It's hearty, healthy, wholesome, all the things I mentioned, and ultimately super healthy for you. So get yourselves down to the restaurant, get yourselves down to the stall, and enjoy the food of Vegivores. And this conversation, this is me and Kevin Farrell. What sort of brought you into the kind of world of catering in the first place?
Okay, so I guess I've always been interested in food. I've always been a bit of a foodie. I've always liked cooking. I've always liked experimenting with different flavours. And when I was younger, I used to work in bars and restaurants and stuff.
Sure.
Always really enjoyed hospitality. And then went to uni, got my degree, went travelling for a bit, then started working in banking. Did that for about 10 years and enjoyed that too, learnt a lot, but just felt like I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to run my own business, and that kind of coincided in terms of timing with my wife and I turning vegan ourselves. So it seemed like a fairly logical area to explore as a business, because I felt like we definitely weren't alone. So that told me there was opportunity there. From a personal perspective, I wanted a bigger variety of things to eat when I went out, and I thought that was something we could work on. So that's how it all came about, really.
Yeah, and what was that kind of route into veganism in the first place? What was the catalyst for that?
It was both gradual and swift for us. So for about probably a year to 2 years, we went through a very conscious process of trying to eat less meat, mainly for health reasons.
Sure.
Because it was fairly well publicised that it wasn't very good for us.
Right.
So we had a fair understanding of that. And then, in honesty, through thinking about the business, I thought about going out trying to eat veggie food. And
Right.
I was getting mushroom risottos, I was getting falafel burgers, and
Yeah.
I thought there has to be more than this. So I thought, why is there not a veggie brand or a veggie restaurant around these parts? So then I started looking at that, and then through researching more vegan recipes, really, I found out what veganism was.
Right.
5 years ago, I probably thought it was something fairly extreme, and I thought it was something that would never be for me. But actually, I just wasn't armed with any facts, really.
Sure.
And then as we learned more, it became a no-brainer for us, really.
Yeah.
Within a very short period of time, pretty much overnight, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. So did the rest of it sort of follow the animal welfare, the environmental stuff? It all kind of came at you at once.
It all then came together.
Yeah.
The animal welfare bit, in honesty, we're not really conditioned to think about, are we? For the most part, and there was stuff I was just completely oblivious to.
Yeah.
Very simple, basic stuff when you think about it. But you know what happens to male calves and all that sort of stuff. Stuff I just never thought about until I was in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But yeah, that obviously became an important consideration then. I thought, number one, I don't personally want to fund that, but I also definitely don't want to make a living from it.
Yeah.
So that became a no-brainer from that point of view. And then the environmental stuff as well, we were completely oblivious to, in honesty. So yeah, we struggled to find reasons not to, really, more so than...
This is it. I think, once you do, it's sort of a bit of an avalanche of information. You can't really go back, can you?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've kind of got this idea to start this vegan business. Where do you even start with that? Like, so did you have a base of recipes at this point?
No is the short answer, I guess. But the one of the brilliant things about becoming vegan is people think you limit your diet, but you actually massively expand it.
Yeah.
Because you eat so much more stuff that you wouldn't normally, or you cook with so many more things. And we went through a period, genuinely, I think, of about 3 months where we didn't eat the same thing twice.
Right.
Just cooking new things non-stop.
Yeah.
And through that, we developed some stuff that we thought, this is good enough to sell.
Right.
And that kind of evolved. We didn't want to do the same thing every week as well, because we thought people would get bored of it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was important to show the variety that's actually out there when it comes to vegan food. That's why we wanted to rotate menus and the likes. And then obviously Sarah joined our business not long after we started, and she's what I'll call a proper chef. And,
right.
She's the brains behind the recipe, but
sure,
at the minute, yeah.
Amazing. So and then did you have to kind of like find like vegan markets and places to kind of actually sell your
so
food?
we started in Reading at Blue Collar, which is every Wednesday in Marketplace. A guy called Glenn runs that one, and he had a fair variety of food, but he admitted himself that people were asking for more vegan options, more veggie options.
Yeah.
So he decided to give us a crack at it, and we started relatively well. And then we joined the one in the same place on Friday.
Yeah.
Chai. Through that, we get into Reading Uni as well on Thursdays. We've done various bits and bobs. I mean, there are vegan markets around the country. We only travel within about an hour, really,
right.
because it's always been the intention to open this place, and it's always
sure.
been the intention to sort of build a local following. So for us, it's not about going somewhere like Manchester for a day
sure.
to make cash. It's more about building long-term repeat business.
Sure.
So we very much have been locally focused in that respect.
Yeah. So you've built a real name in the town centre, built a name through the university as well, and I noticed recently kind of you're spreading that word into football as well. So
we are, yes.
And how's that going?
It's not going too badly. The football crowd need a bit of work. I'll not lie. We're next to a burger trader, and he definitely sells more stuff than we do. But we're getting there. And the thing is, we've had some good support from one of the football fan groups. The people who run that come here. They've given us shouts out online. Paul McShane, who was Reading Kaplan for 4 years. He's a customer, gives us a shout out online. So we've got influential people making the right noises on our behalf, which is great. And the lovely thing is, in complete honesty, in the first couple of weeks, some people came to us that didn't know what to expect. And they came to us because the queue for something else was too long. But then they come back week after week, which is because they enjoyed it. Which is exactly what we're aiming to do there, really.
Have you found any resistance from those kind of non-vegan customers there? Like, does anyone want to have a bit of a debate with you or discussion? Or
not really, to be honest.
Is everyone kind of quite focused on the food, which
not
is a
really.
good thing?
I mean, I think before any of the market, I think it was very traditional in terms of bacon rolls and burgers and pies and what have you. And you get the odd comment that, you know, the whole thing's been gentrified a bit by all these fancy food stands selling all these bits and bobs, but not specific to vegan food or anything like that. Not at all.
Well, that's good, I suppose. Like, they're focused on the food, and they don't see it as a kind of almost an ethical battleground. If you like.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just about a different option, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And so, fast forward into today. So we're sat in your new restaurant. Which is awesome. So how long have you been open now?
So we were open 3 weeks on Sunday.
And how's it going?
It's going very, very well. In honesty, it caught us a little bit by surprise. The week that we weren't quite as prepared as we wanted to be. The week before we opened, we had committed to an opening date. Loads of stuff went wrong, as always tends to happen. So days that we thought we would spend here planning other stuff were spent solving problems elsewhere. Trying to get furniture together and stupid things. But then we opened, and the first day was crazy. The next week was crazy, and it's been maintained, I'm pleased to say. Morning times at the minute are fairly quiet until about 10:30. Lunchtime really busy. Every evening we're busy. Weekend brunch is just non-stop. So I definitely have no complaints on that front.
No, nice.
The only our challenges are how can we do more effectively? How can we expand our offering and keep people engaged? That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and then I suppose you've had to expand the menu quite a bit from where you were at in the kind of markets and so.
Yeah, very much so. And as well, the night before we opened, and the day before, we had a couple of friends and family around for a couple of trial things, and we realised instantly that things we had planned for a year weren't going to work. So the plan was always for people to order at the counter, and we literally realised within 3 minutes of a trial that wasn't going to happen. So we had to reshape our entire model and our entire menu for that. And we're constantly tweaking things. We're doing like a weekly special on the dinner menu at the minute. And we're trying to expand that and add another few options to that. I mean, as you can see, it's not a huge kitchen. There's not a huge amount of space. So we're a little bit limited in what we can do, and we'll have to just be clever. We're looking at our lunchtime offering at the minute, how we can tweak that a little bit as well.
Yeah. I've noticed, from the food standpoint generally, you guys, the thing I particularly love about Vegivores is that the food's hearty but healthy.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's got a real, you're eating the rainbow. There's a whole plethora of vegetables in there. Was that kind of really conscious? Because I think often attracting new kind of customers into vegan restaurants, you tend to find it's kind of let's substitute all of the stuff that the non-vegan folk are kind of used to, the burgers, etc.
Absolutely. That was very much a conscious decision. So we like to say we're selling food that is good for you, but that feels like a bit of a treat at the same time.
Yeah.
And in honesty, we've got, in my view, over 50% of our customer base are omnivores. They eat meat, and they come to us because they like vegetables and they don't know how to cook them at home, or they don't know what to do with them. They need a bit of inspiration, or they just want to be healthier. And ultimately, those people, if they want a chicken wrap, they'll eat a chicken wrap. There's no point in me giving them a fake chicken wrap. And I think as well, maybe not so much in Reading, but particularly in London, there's so much vegan junk food about the place.
Yes.
And I made the point earlier that I didn't want to make a living from animal abuse or what have you, but I also don't want to make a living from giving people health problems.
Yeah.
So we don't deep fry anything. And that's incredibly conscious. You're never going to get chips at Vegivores. You're never, or certainly not deep fried ones.
Yeah.
And we want to showcase vegetables really, and the things that you can do with them that are interesting and healthy.
Yeah, I love that point, because I think I naively thought this when I transitioned into veganism. I kind of thought, if it's got vegan written on it, therefore it's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think you soon sort of realise after the initial kind of few weeks where you obviously feel better and so on, because you haven't got all the kind of meat and dairy in your body and so on. But I noticed that you don't suddenly like become really super healthy. You can eat lots of rubbish. And
well, I was just going to say, when we went vegan, it was a habit of ours to use cheese like a seasoning before.
Yes.
Regardless of what was for dinner, we were grating cheese on top of it.
Yeah.
When we stopped doing that, weight fell off us. But then your body gets used to it, and then eventually says, you know what, you can't eat a bag of nachos every day. Just because something's vegan doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want people to be safe in the knowledge that what we're giving them is decent, wholesome stuff, as opposed to full of oil, full of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you say, I think what it does is sort of, it's a bit of a showcase for people of what vegan food could be, which I think, like the kind of junk food kind of market, like is probably an important one in a way, because it helps as an entry point for lots of people.
Yeah.
But there's kind of the what next, and I almost see what a lot of Vegivores menu is the kind of like, well, what next? What should your real world look like?
Yeah. I mean, I think by its very design, junk food is supposed to be a treat.
Yeah.
And it became mainstream, I suppose, in the US.
Yes.
And there are people who survive on it. But, I like a burger as much as the next man.
Yeah.
And if I go to London, I'll go to Temple of Satan or somewhere, or I'll go to Rudy's.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. But I don't think it has a place in someone's diet every single day of the week.
Yeah.
I also know that if I sold it every day of the week, I would eat it every day of the week, and that would be a disaster. So
yeah.
So yeah.
100%. Yeah. So like you say, there's this kind of idea of like showing people, if you like, what's possible.
Yeah.
Do you see like you expanding into that kind of market, like as in like you could almost, how do I cook the dish that I got in Vegivores? I'm thinking recipe books and so on. Do you think that's a market you'd like to get into?
We have about 1 million ideas.
Yeah.
About 1 million ideas, and no time to plan them.
It's cementing this one, I guess.
Yeah,
it is.
It's getting this place right. I mean, we have growth aspirations for this. We think what we've done here we can do in other places.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And yeah, we'd love to write recipes and all the rest. But all these things take time.
Yeah,
so nothing imminent, I would say.
Yeah.
But we do get people asking for recipes all the time, and we're always happy to have a chat. And we love as well, we've had people on Instagram posting something that they've made resembling something of ours, saying inspired by Vegivores. Yeah, and that's brilliant. That's exactly what we're setting out to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so for the restaurant right now, do you think that it has inspired perhaps some of those non-vegan customers that you were mentioning? Do you think some of them, have you heard any conversations where people are kind of saying to you, do you know, actually I'm thinking about actually transitioning because of the food I've eaten with you?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we get loads of interesting feedback all the time. One of the biggest things that we've noticed here has been the milk situation.
Right. Okay.
Because I mean, if you look around here, there's nothing really that says we're vegan, and loads of people.
No.
I mean, we get asked for normal milk about 20 times a day.
Yeah.
But we talk to people about oat milk and about plant milks, and they end up loving them, saying, you know what, that's a switch I could make. So the milk thing's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
But we get people, all the time. I mean, especially as well, we're quite close to the gym here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen or you've heard about the whole Game Changers thing.
Yeah.
And, the reaction from that has been absolutely incredible. And we're getting people coming in quite literally every day of the week saying, I've just gone vegan because of that, and can you guys help me out?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about Game Changers because the food that's sort of portrayed in Game Changers, there is a little bit of, they talk a little bit about vegan junk food, but generally what they're talking about is eating really healthily and eating really, wholesome vegan food.
Yeah.
And this seems like a good place to kind of have got that inspiration. So I'm kind of intrigued that there's kind of those Game Changers folks, particularly with the gym, who are kind of coming in. So that you're getting those guys are asking you for recipes.
Honestly, non-stop.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Amazing.
And we had two lads yesterday who had they were in for lunch. They had literally gone vegan the night before because they watched the thing. They were like, we don't know where to start, but this seems like a good place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Has not using the word vegan been a kind of purposeful move on your part?
Yes and no, to be honest. Everything here happens to be vegan, happens to be plant-based.
Yeah.
I think there are negative connotations around the word. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I think some people quite simply don't understand it.
Sure.
And what I said when we opened this place, and before, to be honest, was we're not setting out to be a really good vegan restaurant. We're setting out to be one of the best restaurants.
Yeah.
In Reading, and the fact that the food is vegan is neither here nor there, to be quite honest. So we don't want to be judged on the fact that we're vegan. We don't want people just going on Happy Cow and saying, oh, there's a place to go.
Yeah.
We want people saying we want to go there because this is actually excellent food. So that's more the focus.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And you see, I suppose like the one that sort of jumps to mind where I think I probably first had an encounter with a restaurant that did a similar tactic was kind of Deliciously Ella, like going to that restaurant and kind of like not seeing the word vegan. It's interesting you mentioned about customers asking for normal milk. Almost every time I've been in there, somebody's like just buying their breakfast and has said, oh, do you happen to have any normal milk or whatever? Which kind of actually tells me it's working. Sort of tells me that kind of like there's lots of customers there who, to your point, they've just come because the food's great. They're not worried about whether it's,
Exactly, and that's the bulk of our business. And on the milk front as well, our menus say, if people sit down and read a menu, it says at the bottom of our menu, Oatly Barista is our house milk. So if someone orders a latte, that's what they get. And they all leave happy, or they all seem to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you think that the kind of the markets and so on, are they kind of something that you're going to continue with in the meantime?
Absolutely, yeah. We are continuing with them. I think they are. Well, first of all, it took a long time to build that business. It took an awful lot of effort. So we don't just want to let that go.
Yeah.
With anything, there are growing pains.
Yeah.
We need to have the right people in the right places, doing the right things at the right times, and there's a bit of complexity around that.
Yeah.
So we're maybe not doing as many events as we would ideally like to at the minute because we need to figure some process stuff out. But the regular ones, the Wednesdays, the Fridays, the uni, all of that's continuing.
Yeah, and I suppose they're a good place to build customers for here too, right?
Of course, absolutely, yeah. And vice versa. If someone comes here and then they happen to be at the football and see us there, then it helps build a bit of brand recognition. I'm intrigued about some of those markets. I think both of them actually. Certainly the Wednesday one that I kind of go to quite regularly actually is a pretty omnivorous kind of market. And I'm intrigued about the relationship with between you and some of the other traders because some of them quite actively kind of are about as much meat as possible. They are. To be honest, and I'm sure it's on your list to ask. As you've seen, we're next door to the butchers here.
Yes.
And people always say, "How do you feel about that?" And as you know, in the street food world, I've had someone selling meat on either side of me.
Yeah.
And now it's only one side here, so it's something we're well used to. And I think initially when I rocked up, they all thought it was crazy, and they openly told me that they thought, this will last a matter of weeks because there isn't a demand for this. And we worked hard at proving them otherwise. And, now we're as busy as any of them.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, everybody gets on very well there because everybody ultimately is in the same boat.
Yeah.
They're all just trying to make a living. It's a very, very hard way to make a living. You're exposed to the elements. It's long days. So there's a lot of camaraderie around that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely going to ask you about the butchers next door, because it's
Yeah.
it's definitely an intriguing one. Like,
It is. It's been a great talking point
I bet.
for people. But again, we all get on well. You know, they were in here for lunch yesterday.
Right.
They come in for coffee. Apparently, they've been handing out our menus to their customers.
Really amazing.
As I say, you know, there's a lot of overlap in our customer bases. There
Yeah.
are people who are coming out of here after lunch and then going there and buying something for their dinner.
Yeah.
And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. You know, we're all, if you look around here, everyone's doing something different, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
In any kind of high street.
Yeah. Sort of. I'm gonna sort of zoom out a little bit, right? So talking in kind of like really broad terms, like
Yeah.
how kind of optimistic do you feel about where the world currently is with the kind of move towards veganism?
Yeah.
That like we could eventually get to that kind of place of like a vegan world. Do you feel that's coming or not? It's a big question, I know.
It's difficult to say because at the minute my world is a square in Caversham.
Totally.
So, you know, what's happening in other countries, I don't know, but we're seeing, you know, there's no doubt there's a massive shift in the UK.
Yeah.
In terms of culture, in terms of attitude. One of the big game changers is the supermarkets getting on board.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not naive. We all know that supermarkets are going to sell whatever makes them money.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the fact that they're putting more vegan products on the shelves means that there's demand for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's only going to continue to go one way.
Yeah.
How far away we are from a vegan world, I've no idea. I think if we're being realistic, it's a fair while away.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the generation getting it most probably are the kids.
Yeah.
Students are massively embracing all that goes with veganism, and ultimately they're the
Yeah.
future. So
Yeah, yeah, it is definitely a huge question. I've had this discussion with a few people in some of their previous episodes of the podcast about the idea of like whether they kind of feel optimistic about it or so on, and like I'm kind of holding on to the idea that actually if businesses are working out how to kind of monetize it, then that's probably a positive thing. It shows that there's a groundswell of opinion.
Of course.
There's a groundswell of movement. And so those businesses, in order to survive, like the supermarkets, etc., are thinking of ways to kind of meet that groundswell.
absolutely.
Sort of almost like the more we can... I'm reluctant to say we can sort of buy ourselves out of, you know, like ecological crisis and so on, but I do think, you know, our cash is a big vote, if you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and where we kind of put it. So I think, you know, whether people, you know, hopefully come here and buy great food and kind of learn about it, or even if they're buying it in a supermarket, etc., it's all kind of sort of a vote for the positive.
Of course it is, yeah. And again, that's one of our aims is we don't. You've already highlighted the fact we don't have vegan plastered all over the place, and we're not about ramming things down people's throat.
Yeah.
And we were the same at the markets, but what we aim to do is give people a positive choice.
Yeah.
One that's good for them, and one that frankly they should enjoy. And will enjoy. So it's about quietly spreading a positive message, as opposed to shouting about the negatives of other things.
Yeah. There's definitely like it's another point that sort of I think has come up in some conversations I've been in recently about the idea of like what is activism, and I think I certainly thought prior to doing these sort of podcasts that activism was kind of like holding a placard at a protest, and I think that's a really important form of activism, but it's not the only one. Like this is a form of activism.
Absolutely. For us, this is very much about activism, and I think different things work for different people. Personally, you know, the people you've just mentioned, I'm not of a disposition to ever be able to do that, and I think that by showing people how many good things they could be eating and how good they could feel, that's exactly our activism. And the thing is, as well, I said to you about, you know, omnivorous customers and all the rest. If it's a case whereby we have someone who's reducing their meat intake to a day a week or a couple of days a week or whatever, the multiplier effect of that as you reach and touch more people is huge. So I think all of these things add up, and all take us a step further in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, if you can fill people's bellies full of good food, that's such an amazing way to sort of to kind of like get a message across. I think because people talk more probably about food than they talk about anything else.
Exactly, and I think one of the biggest barriers that people find in going vegan is diet.
Yeah.
Because they think, well, what am I going to eat? I'm restricted. So if you can show them that there is good food out there, then that's one of the major hurdles. To overcome.
You're absolutely right. It's that perception, isn't it, that I'm going to be taking away lots of stuff rather than kind of like to your point earlier about actually you're adding in this whole like, I think we get quite lazy when we're like omnivorous cooks. Yeah. I certainly did. You sort of you stick the protein in the middle and everything else is a garnish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I read somewhere the average family has like 15 recipes or something.
Right.
That they just rotate between constantly.
Right.
Whereas we certainly find that once we started introducing new vegetables, just pick a random vegetable and say, let's try and do something different with this. It definitely opens your mind a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you when you mentioned when you started like this, and I'm kind of surprised actually, like this was your first, like Vegivores was your first kind of like foray into kind of catering or into hospitality.
Yeah.
Is like opening the restaurant felt like another step on that journey again? Like,
yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean we don't claim to be experts in anything, and we can only do our best. And when we first started, we made a lot of mistakes, and it takes time to work things out.
Yeah.
I think you waste a lot of time when you initially open. And here's the same. There are a few of us here who have been working basically 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day now for the best part of a month. But we're working stuff out every day, and we're seeing little tweaks that we can make to ease that burden.
Yeah.
And the catering and the street food was exactly the same. So there's a gradual learning element in it, but I think it is very, very similar. That experience has definitely stood me in good stead. Because I can draw on the fact of I had to work so hard in setting that up. I had to put so many hours into it and made so many mistakes. I cut myself so many times. And I know I came out the other side of it to then have a good business. And I know that we're on the same journey here.
Yeah.
As I say, just on a slightly bigger scale.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like an incredibly tough industry to kind of not only be learning not just to learn in the first place, but to be learning through owning your own kind of venture.
Yeah.
That's the bit that kind of intrigues me about it. It's like, it's one thing kind of like working in a commercial restaurant and kind of learning the trade that way and then eventually branching out. But it's like you did the whole thing at once.
Did the whole thing at once, yeah. I mean, I did work in bars and restaurants, but a very long time ago. My wife as well used to manage restaurants, so she's been really useful in terms of in particular front of house and operations. And Sarah obviously has been a chef in restaurants before.
Yeah, sure.
So her experience has been amazing as well. And we've formed a great team here ultimately. Some of the people have never worked in a restaurant before, but they just have an amazing attitude towards customer service, really, towards engaging people and chatting with people. So that's made it all a lot easier as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet it has. Yeah, it still seems like a lot to take on, but good, fair play to you for doing it. It's an exceptional kind of business with a great local kind of name. I think already that's kind of spreading. I think every kind of vegan event I've been to, vegan festival, you're either at or certainly people are well aware of your business. So it's, all credit to you. So talking about kind of vegan festivals and so on, and going around that kind of circuit, if you like, I've kind of noticed, I think, going back to the junk food point, that I think you kind of probably offer something quite different even in that space.
We do, yeah.
Which I'm kind of like intrigued by.
Again, do you know what? I like to try and maintain a modest position on things, but I've been at some where I've actually stood there and gone, do you know what? I want to eat our food rather than anyone else's.
Yeah, sure.
And it's the same thing, really. You know, there's junk food all over the place, and some of those guys are brilliant at what they do, and we'll of course eat it. But I think what we're all about is we're not trying to appeal to a vegan market specifically, because those people are already converted and they already know what they want. But what we're trying to do is introduce veganism a bit more to the mainstream market, and show the average Joe that actually there's other stuff you could be eating here.
Yeah.
And our recipes are kind of built around that.
Yeah. Well, more power to you, because I think it's absolutely, particularly off the back of things like Game Changers, this feels like very much of a moment where that message is like going to be perfectly received by so many omnivorous folk. Like, the amount of conversations, like to our point earlier about that I've had about Game Changers since has been incredible. Like, and people kind of, I think, it really taps into that kind of health kind of market, if you like. So yeah, fair play to you for that. So the future of Vegivores, I think the answer is probably going to be like solidify this restaurant first, probably. But like, where do you see it going?
More stores than McDonald's.
Is that the plan? World domination.
World domination. No, I mean, we, in honesty, tentatively, we're already making plans for the second one.
Right.
Which should happen hopefully in the first half of next year.
Amazing.
And then from there we'll see. The big thing, the big challenge, the growth, I think, won't be meeting demand. I think the demand is there, but it's finding the right people.
Yeah.
Particularly in the chef world.
Yes.
Because I think there's a massive gap in terms of, if you look at any kind of catering college right now, the students are working with meat, they're working with dairy, they're working with eggs. So we want to try and build some links with local training providers, so that if there are, I mean, I find it hard to believe that there aren't 17 or 18-year-olds out there who want to be plant-based chefs, who are already living this lifestyle, and we desperately need to find those people and engage with them, and give them opportunities to actually work somewhere and gain on-the-job experience. But that for me will be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I hadn't necessarily thought about that, but when you say it, it makes perfect sense. Like, the world of kind of like professional kind of catering, professional chefs, is not necessarily a plant-based one.
No, it's not.
And not even, and maybe the kind of general public have gone further than that world has, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like, it must be quite difficult to find, like, you know, really high quality kind of chefs.
Yeah.
The vegan catering college, I think that's probably the next step for you.
Yeah, maybe who knows? I mean, there are courses out there that people can do,
right?
But they're more, dare I say, they're more like hobby courses. You know, they take a couple of weeks, as opposed to a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I just think I think there are very limited opportunities at the minute for vegan chefs, because some people, if they want to go and work in a hotel or something, they can say we'll only deal with vegan foods.
Yeah.
But it takes a very flexible employer to say, okay, you can do that.
It's sort of like, pardon the non-vegan pun, but it's almost a bit chicken and the egg. You know, like you kind of like, you need the restaurants in order to create the demand for the chefs, and then you need the chefs to operate the restaurants.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you can understand, like, a young potential chef going into the catering world. You know, whether she or he's going to want to do that when they think, well, actually, am I going to limit my career prospects?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in my view, it'd be quite the opposite.
Yeah. In fact, they're probably getting on board at exactly the right time.
Exactly.
When this is going to explode.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Vegivores Restaurant.
Hopefully, indeed.
Excellent. So, just so that everyone knows kind of whereabouts to find you. So where can we come and eat
so we are
apart from here?
In number 41 Church Street, Caversham. You can park in Waitrose or Iceland out the back. As everybody knows, we're next door to the butchers. We're also at Blue Collar every Wednesday in Marketplace in Town. We're at Chow every Friday in Marketplace in Town. We're at Reading Uni every Thursday during term. We're at every Reading Football Club home game. Those are the regular ones at the moment.
Amazing. Thanks for your time, Kevin.
Not
I
at all.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Getting your time at the moment is a sought after thing. So I really appreciate it.
It's dragged me away from the dishwasher for half an hour, so it's very welcome.
Thanks so much, and best of luck.
Cheers.
Cheers.